You're with us on BTTV. Let's take a look at markets today. 181 points up on the Sensex, and Nifty as well up at 50 points, 80,173, inching up towards 18,200 in fact. So it's been a pretty solid Thursday. It is expiry. Let's also go across to Gaurav Bissa, who's joining us, Vice President Incred Equities. Gaurav, good afternoon. It's that time of the month again. How's the action today? Gaurav, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So how's the expiry playing out so far? We're not seeing too much volatility, at least from what I can make out on the screens.
Volatility will be the key component going forward. See, we are playing with a very small VIX area. So any small up or down, it generally results in very wild swings in terms of option premiums. And that is what we are seeing right now. Nifty 18,000, if you look at it, 18,000 put option come at one of the highest concentration. Nifty went below that very briefly. That was sustained. So again, the bulls got in control, and we have seen good again writing happening, 18,000 put option, and that had a very spring sort of effect. So basically, if you see over last 2 or 3 days, 18,100, 120 is where Nifty has been trading. We are majorly around those levels only. So it's a good sign that 18,000 is being respected. And if we are seeing couple of days of more writing happening, 18,000 put option, the upside will get again cemented.
Okay, so that's where we're at. Financials have, of course, been a big talking point this week, Gaurav. We want to bring some of those names up and just get a sense from you on where you're seeing action. SBI has been seeing, sort of some swings in the market today, back up above 1%. But overall, the financial basket, of course, continues to be much preferred.
Well, yes, banking space has been the key driver for Nifty, and we have seen that once they start witnessing some amount of profit booking, it resulted in foreign Nifty as well. So the names will still do better. So if you're talking about SBI, though the entire December month it was trading in a very narrow range, 595 to 610. But we're not seeing any aggressive positions getting built, and the rollovers are also decent. Going forward, it can see very strong upside. Some of the other names within a similar basket, for example, Canara Bank, we witnessed very strong long positions getting built. The rollovers are also very strong. It gave a monthly breakout as well. So whether it is in terms of FNO data, whether in terms of price action, Canara Bank is another name that is looking quite interesting. So that will be also on radar. Among the private banking names, we are liking something like Axis Bank, where we have seen significant outperformance. There has not been much correction sort of happening, and there also we witnessed a good amount of long positions getting built. The rollovers also in the favor. So among the larger prominent names, Axis is one that is going to be on our radar. And as far as mid-cap banking space is concerned, which we had given to clients also, and we are continuously recommending in that, would be RBL Bank, where we witnessed a good amount of long positions. But the only aspect which is not that strong is that price action has been very severe. The stock has moved from 150 to 170, 175 in a short span of time, and that has not got adjusted as in terms of OI as well. But nevertheless, that is another name is looking quite robust. So for a short-term gain, we are looking for RBL Bank as well.
All right, fair enough. Gaurav, I don't know if you're tracking some of these fertilizer and chemical counters, but in case you are, I just want to get a sense from you on what's happening there. I mean, we're just seeing top mover day in, day out on some of these names like FACT and some of the others, from the larger basket as well. Like I said, not sure if you're tracking it, but if you are, just want to throw that to you.
We have been recommending one or two names, but overall space is something that we also had a miss on that. But some of the names are looking good. But in terms of stocks which are part of the FNO basket, something like Chambal Fertilizer, the upside seems limited. It's been trading in a range, and there's nothing much to read in data as well. But the non-FNO names are doing well. RCF has given good breakout, so that is something that is on our radar. We have flagged off to our clients as well for a position based somebody will have a view of 3 months, 6 months, or maybe higher. For something like that. National Fertilizer is something that has been on our radar. So non-FNO names were on our radar, but names like Coromandel or something like Chambal Fertilizer, I think it's going to be more of a range bound for them.
Okay, fair enough. What are you making on some of these metal names given the kind of action we've seen this week with the China reopening?
Metals have been one of the consistent performers, and as a disclaimer, we had come out with the report as well. It has achieved the targets, but at these levels also, I think there are certain pockets which are looking quite interesting. The rollovers are also supporting. Fresh additions are being seen, getting formed in the names. So something like Jindal Steel, which is going to be the best placed metal name, again, a prominent name. A very nice breakout sort of happening, and it can move 5 to 7% in next few trading sessions. So that is one name that is going to be on our radar. Tata Steel, another prominent name that is going to be on our radar. We had a very nice run. Last few days, the intensity of longs have been a little bit subdued, but I'm not seeing the previous long positions being liquidated. So that again is a positive sign, and we might see another 3 or 4% higher from the current price. Once it gives a close of 150, then I think that is where we can see some strong upside sort of coming in. So metal overall is looking quite interesting, but again, I would not have a blanket buy that any and every name in the metal space can be bought. But in terms of hierarchy, something like Jindal Steel, JSW Steel, Tata Steel, among the private names are looking quite interesting.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just taking a look at some of the action on the F&O side, and it's really all financials, that we're seeing right now. That's really where most of the action lies. Federal Bank, Bank of Baroda, RBL, and of course the Nifty Bank as well. So continuing to just really see, most of the activity building up there. What else is standing out to you this expiry, Gaurav, in terms of a few stocks, maybe outside the financials? What's on your list?
Well, the financials will be the flavor because
Yeah.
they had seen strong positions and they have seen significant outperformance as well. And it makes a good case for them because after a correction, they are coming again to a major support area. So something like Bajaj Finance, if it sustains 6,400, I think in Jan it can move towards 6,800, 6,900. Some of the other names like RBL Bank, as I mentioned, that is also looking quite interesting. Good amount of long positions getting built, multiple breakouts sort of happening. M&M Finance is another name among the mid-cap financial names that has also seen very strong upside, that has seen good positions, that has seen outperformance as well. So this is going to be an interesting space to watch out for. It's a high beta name, high beta space as well. So if there's a even limited upside that is expected in Nifty, I think these names can still see strong outperformance.
Okay, a couple of other names in F&O. I'll go back to Gaurav on them in just a moment. But something like a GMR Infra, Tata Motors, Ambuja Cement, Reliance. Some of these names also adding some open interest today. But let me first go across to Akanksha on some of the other stocks in news. Akanksha.
Yes, Aabha. Like you just said, banks are also seeing a lot of action. So are some infrastructure companies. Talking about Transformers and Rectifiers India Limited, it has been awarded a contract of around 123 crores from one of the central authorities in the country, and the stock is up 4%. The market has taken this news positively. Next stock on our list is Bank of India, and they have further invested 1.13 crores in PSB Alliance Private Limited. This takes their total stake from 8.33 to 7.14%. But the markets are not receiving this news positively. The stock is down 1.55%. Next on our list is Ashoka Buildcon. They have been awarded three projects, in fact, worth 754 crore rupees from the Madhya Pradesh Purv Kshetra Vidyut Vitran Company. The stock is reacting positively to this news, and the stock is up over 1%. Next on our list is a small cap microfinance company, Spandana Spurti Finance. They've hit the upper circuit of 5% at rupees 575 rupees in Thursday's trade on BSE after the company approved the transfer of loan portfolio, including written off loans of 328 crore rupees. Next on our list is a telecom company, Bharti Airtel. It's planning to list its unit, Airtel Payments Bank, which has already, turned profitable and it's growing in healthy double digits. The market is taking this news positively. The stock is up a little over 0.5%. Next news is from the IPO street. Mama Earth's parent company, Hunasa Consumers, they have drafted papers for their IPO. Shilpa Shetty and Kunal Behl, these are some celebrity investors in the company, and they'll be selling off their stake. And Honasa Consumers is the largest digital first BPC company in India, and in terms of revenue from operations in FY 2022, and they had a portfolio of 6 BPC brands with differentiated value propositions. Well, back to you, Aabha.
Thanks for that, Akanksha. I want to go back to Bharti for a moment and get your take, Gaurav, because a few days running now we've been seeing Bharti pick up on that price action.
Well, yes, if you look at the overall setup, it is still, it's in the middle of the range, and we are not seeing too much of activity sort of happening. There's a good amount of resistance at 835, 840. There's a strong support at 800, and we are not seeing some incremental positions getting built. So there is a spot of 1 or 2 days being a very positive one in terms of positions. But beyond that, I think it's more of a writer's spread, option writer's spread as at this point in time, where we are seeing limited upside, limited downside. So as long as it's trading below 840, I would not be too keen to build fresh long positions. Let it give a breakout, or I would buy around levels of 800. That would make more sense. But at the current juncture, it's best suited for option writing.
Okay. And what about, like, Akanksha is also pointing out some of these infra names or deep cyclicals, so infra, power, and then of course industrial, cement, that whole sort of deep value pack in the market. Anything there that you like?
In terms of infra and engineering, I would still prefer Larsen and Toubro, where we are seeing good amount of breakout that we witnessed earlier, and it's witnessing some of the bounce back. But for these names, whether we're talking about infra, whether we're talking about specialty chemicals, we need to have some more clarity, some more follow-up positions being built. At this point, it can be more of a short covering rally, but unless we don't see a rally being converted into fresh longs, I think it will be a little bit premature. We have seen Nifty moving smartly today, and even the stocks are witnessing some amount of bounce back. But as long as they are not witnessing some aggressive positions, I would still be a little bit skeptical. So for me to enter into these names, I would still give it 1 more week, at least 3 or 4 days, and see how the data pans out. If there's something changed in the data, that will get them on my radar. As long as that does not happen, I will stay away from them.
Okay, fair enough. What about auto and auto ancillaries, Gaurav? What are you liking there? It's still a little bit of a mixed bag, so I'm just curious what's on your list.
Yeah, that is something that is looking interesting. And if you look at the Rolo data, then in terms of sectoral participation, I think auto is something that is going to be a more interesting one. And among that, Mahindra and Mahindra is something that is on my radar. And if you look at the overall scenario, that has been an outperformer all throughout. We have seen some of the sluggish moves coming in Mahindra and Mahindra last couple of weeks. But beyond that, if you see, it's not corrected too much. It's been more of a range-bound move at a time when Nifty Auto witnessed some correction, Nifty witnessed some profit booking. So among the four-wheeler names, Mahindra and Mahindra is going to be on my radar. And among the two-wheeler names, TVS Motor is something that is on my radar. And as a disclaimer, we had given to our clients as well. So any declines in TVS Motor, I think that can be bought into, not at the current juncture, because it moved up 7-8% after we gave a buy recommendation. But any declines in TVS would be interesting one as well. So among two-wheelers, TVS Motor; among four-wheelers, Mahindra and Mahindra.
Okay, great. Just as we wind up, Gaurav, for the next series, then anything you'd like to leave us with in terms of levels or top picks as we head into a fresh week and a fresh month?
Yeah, so in terms of index, a close above 18,200 would push the index towards 18,600, 18,700 in the month of January. And majority of the toxicity that we witnessed in December, I think that will be taken care of. The key levels to watch out for are going to be 18,200. Nifty is trading around those levels only, but we need to have a close above that. That is one. As far as stocks are concerned, as I said, that I would still give some more time, but general still is something that is looking quite interesting, where you have very strong RORO data, where you have a strong OI data, where you have strong option data, and you have a strong price action as well. So this is something that is going to be on my radar. And among the financials, Anderson Bank is going to be my top recommendation, because we have seen positions being built, and we have not seen too much of price action happening. So like in RBL Bank, we spoke about there were positions that we were built, but the stock moved up 10%. So majority of that is taken care of. So that has not happened in Anderson Bank. So that is going to be on my radar as well.
Great. Gaurav, thanks so much for joining us on today's show and taking us through all your latest picks. Still a little volatile, but definitely starting to look a little bit more positive on the index. Now, Asia's richest man and Adani Group chairman Gautam Adani has said that India is set to become a $30 trillion economy by 2050, a nearly tenfold jump from its current size, driven by rising consumption, social and economic reforms. He also adds that India's middle class, coupled with the demographic dividend, will spur growth in the days to come. Here's an excerpt of that exclusive conversation.
Let us also look at another concern that has been raised by some of your critics, that the Adani Group is highly over-leveraged. It has a debt of close to 2 lakh crores. What gives you the confidence that you can maintain this debt and repay it?
See, Raj, I must confess that I am greatly surprised by the conversations around our debt. We are financially very strong and secure. Such noises are coming mainly from two categories. The first category is of the people who are not doing deep diving to understand the detailed nuances of debt and finances of company. I'm sure if they make an effort to understand the financial statements, all the misgivings about debt will disappear. However, there is second category of people with a vested interest, deliberately creating confusion and misunderstanding to tarnish the reputation of the group. The fact of the matter is that in the past 9 years, our profit has been growing at twice the rate of our debt, and because of which our debt to EBITDA ratio has come down from 7.6 to 3.2, which is a very, very healthy for a large group where most of the companies are in the infrastructure space with an assured and a predictable cash flow, unlike in a manufacturing. It is for this reason that not only national but international rating agencies have rated us equivalent to India's sovereign rating. It is a matter of great pride for me that no other business group in India has as many companies as the Adani Group, which has sovereign ratings. Raj, you are well aware that rating agencies, and particularly the international ones, are very conservative and stingy in giving rating, and they have a very, very rigorous and robust systems and processes of a financial analysis. To share with you, it is for this fundamental financial strength of our group that we were able to close the ACC and Ambuja cement deal of $10.5 billion in a record time in less than just 3 months.
All right, well, we're closing out the year. That was the most exclusive interview you're going to hear because Gautam Adani, for the first time on record, talking about a lot of much hyped, controversies around his debt. These are all theories, of course, that the market has been discussing, as he alluded to as well. Talking about the NDTV acquisition, talking about the Wholesome acquisition, talking about green energy plans. You can catch that entire interview online and, of course, on India Today repeatedly. today and over the weekend. But first time on record here as newsmaker of the year, being one of the world's richest men and really toppling quite a few significant others off the top of that list. Back home, in terms of trade, we've of course seen the Adani group of stocks see phenomenal returns, not just this year, the last few years, as he also spoke about, doubling profit, across companies. But the race is on to see who finally stacks up as as the star of the year in trade. We've still got one trading session to go before we get that verdict. Today, of course, markets have been making a continuous attempt to recoup those losses. And we've been looking steady, in fact, heading back up towards the 18,200 mark. So while Friday was a big knock, Monday was a great bounce back. And as we've seen the week progress, we do seem to be consistently clawing back some of that ground. So it's not ending too bad. Global markets also seem to be either tepid or at least firm for the moment. Some of those central bank worries in the shadows as everyone celebrates. For now, it's holiday season. So we'll wait and see what the new year has in store. And COVID worries also, for the moment at least, seem to be in the background somewhat, given that China has also opened up. And while there have been further cases, of course, it's still being seen as a Category B infection for the moment. Let's see how that also pans out. In today's session, we've got Bharti Airtel up 2.5%. We were talking to Gaurav Bissa earlier. He said while it's, of course, seen a couple of days of gains and a big spike on Bharti today, in fact, still too early to tell. Early to tell whether or not this is going to become a trend on Bharti. So that's one. We've also got a whole host of other movers today. Let's talk you through them. Of course, it's financials pretty much all the way, PSU and private both. And remember, it's expiry today, so it's been a pretty decent expiry so far. But State Bank of India is back up above 2% or so. Axis is looking good right now. And then, of course, from the broader markets, also a whole host of names. What's interesting is IndusInd Bank is also up from the financial pack. But what's also interesting is something like a Tata Steel. And in terms of metal names, we've been seeing that entire pack move this week. So, of course, it's on the China reopening. What's very interesting is that your fundamental analysts are still staying away from metals, but all of your technical and even F&O analysts are somewhat intrigued at these levels to maybe buy in or dabble a bit in some of those commodity names. So 1.5% higher on Tata Steel as well. Continues to be a risky pocket of the market, but definitely saw some action this week. Auto continuing to be a mixed bag, so that's still a little confusing. Everyone seems to have some play in auto or the other, but whether or not we're going to see continued action across the board, that's still up for debate in terms of what's really going to move in the auto pack. IT, mixed bag today, nothing much to really write home about today. Fertilizers and chemicals, agri-commodity, that entire pocket continues to see a lot of action. FACT, in fact, has been on a roll. It's been, moving 9-10% a day. So that particular segment is continuing to draw quite a lot of traction as well. And then some of the other names for the broader markets, we'll run you through those as well. So continued traction in sugar, in fertilizers, in agri-chemicals, and Adani Transmission was up today. Aegis Logistics, we saw Adani Total Gas, Indiabulls Housing, Aptus Value Housing was also up 6-7%, KEC International up 6%, FSN E-Commerce was up 6% today. Karur Vysya Bank, GMR has been seeing some amount of action picking up on the F&O side as well. Max Healthcare, Jindal Stainless, Varun Beverages has been consistently moving. Federal Bank has been consistently moving. BHEL seeing about 2%. Kajaria Ceramics was up about 2% or so. What else? Zomato, 2% coming in there. Jindal Steel, again another 2% coming in there as well. RBL also up about 2% or so. You can see the move in some of those financial names quite clearly. And today being expiry, we're seeing a lot of spikes towards the end of that chart, as you can see on your screen. But continue to see a lot of traction in the broader markets as well today. So that really sums it up. Overall, an even day. It wasn't necessarily a crazy runaway rally, but clawing back, like I said, and closer to, we are actually at 18,200 now on the Nifty, 61158 on the Sensex as well. Solid day of trade coming in. And if we close at some of these levels, it will show stability return back to the market, as opposed to the concerns around volatility, which are largely more to do also with some of those unknown macro/global factors. That's where we leave it on the show for now. Thanks so much for watching.
I'm Raj Cheng.